Yeah, thank you so much for having me up here in the booth for this one. It's definitely an honor, and definitely looking forward to what tonight has in store. Road course racing is always usually a lot of fun, and definitely wouldn't expect anything different here tonight. A very interesting road course we got in tonight. We got a lot of long straightaways, a lot of winding corners, and could definitely produce some very fun racing. So I'm definitely very excited to see how it will all play out. And just again, thank you so much for having me up here. I am really, really looking forward to this one.
Being a little screwy, so there we are. Okay, didn't even realize my mic wasn't plugged into OBS, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna redo the intro here just a little bit. Once again, the cliffs are high, but the spirits are higher here at the end of historic US Route 6. The winding road of Cape Cod leads us to round number 3 of the Sportsman Series, the third race of Season 3 here at Cape Cod International for the Fuel Sportsman Series. Like we said, the Raybestos 120K. Finally, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Trey Wright, joined alongside by Caleb Rose. Caleb, you have already given your spiel, but nonetheless, like you said, fun to go road racing here for 27 laps. Practice winding down here at Cape Cod as we get a look at the number 86 of Ike Durbin, your last winner here in the Fuel Sportsman Series at Augusta 1 week ago. Got about 3 minutes left here in practice before we get into qualifying. And for some people, it's time for vacation on some rocky beaches here in New England, but tonight is going to be anything but a vacay for these guys. It's our first road course of the season, and it really doesn't get any more technical than this. Nearly 3 miles in length for CCIR. It's got a great blend of long straights with good passing zones, but then you've got tight, very tight technical sections that require perfect driving with perfect inputs on whether you're using a wheel, keyboard, Xbox controller, whatever your poison is. 17 total turns, pretty much all of them flat. Caleb, it's very easy to make some mistakes here at CCIR.
Definitely, like you said, a very technical road course. I kind of touched on, you're going to have a lot of long straightaways, a lot of sweeping corners, a lot of tight corners mixed in there as well. So car control is definitely going to be a very prominent factor in tonight. And of course, you know how NR road racing can be. You got to watch out for potential brake lockups and all that, especially gear failures as well. Like I said, the game just likes to be like that sometimes. And RNG could definitely strike, but still you need to try and be as careful as you can when maneuvering around this racetrack. But still, definitely going to expect a lot of action here tonight with the track configuration, everything in play. And like I said, definitely intriguing to see how tonight's race will play out.
It definitely is. And again, the biggest challenge for these drivers as Emi Schizzato goes into the corner there in turn number 2. That's going to be the biggest trouble spot we're going to see for these guys. It's a lot like COTA, where you're going flat out over 160 mile an hour into a very slow and tight left-hander. It's very easy to lock up the brakes going into it. Some other notable turns here on the track. Turn number 4, another left-hander that Schizzato will be going through right now. Keon Daly will master turn number 4 that time around, and that's Cinnabon Dodge Charger. This in and out section right through here, a little bit similar to the stadium section at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where you got that in and out section. Same thing with this little switchback over in turn 8 going into the de facto back straightaway, which is just a long series of curves, basically just the S's of this track. But if that wasn't bad enough, based on how technical this track is, Caleb, based on what we've seen in practice so far, which Dun LaPrade top of the board right now with a $1:44 second time over Apollo High with about 37 seconds remaining here in practice. The tire wear and the tire conservation is going to be a massive factor for these guys, as well as brake fade certainly being a concern. Pit road for these guys, also a very high 55 mile an hour for a road course. We'll likely see these guys split the race in half with a single set of pit stops if this race goes green. But Caleb, like you have seen, more likely than not, however, we'll probably get quite a few self-spins and maybe a multi-caution or two, depending on how these restarts go. But Other than that, we are certainly set for a good time here in Cape Cod this evening with about 60 seconds to go in practice.
Definitely going to be a lot of factors going into the race here tonight, and especially with the track configuration. Like I've been saying, it's definitely going to produce a very, very exciting race here from Cape Cod. And yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. Like you mentioned, Dunlop Prod currently on the top of the charts right now in practice. Apollo Hyde right now in second. Be very good times there up top of the board. So this might be guys to watch out for, that I would say, as this race goes along. But anything can happen. It's not over until it's over, until the checkered flag flies. We've seen that in offline and online racing alike. But yeah, definitely still intriguing to see how this race will play out. Who we see in contention for this one?
Oh, absolutely. As we get a good look at Nicky Conti's Ford Mustang. First time, rather the Ford Thunderbird, I should say. First time Nicky Conti has been on the Sportsman circuit this season. Newcomer Joey Tortomella, driving that number 49 car. Practice will come to a close here in just a couple of moments. Painted that car last night for Joey. That number 49 Sectator Media Chevrolet Monte Carlo, Emi Schizzato, rounding out the trio that remains on the track right now as we get set for pole qualifying here in just a couple of moments as time will wind down. Conti will bring that 85 car to a stop. Dunlop Prod top of the board in practice. We're going to wait to see how long we've got here in bonus time. And I think just another second. So Schizzato will bring that 9 car down the pit lane. But we're going to have some more bonus time, 30 more seconds of bonus time actually. Let's get a good look at the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship ticker that we used yesterday. Heck of a race over at Old Spice yesterday. Congratulations to Sebastian Palmer and Esteban Lasser for winning that race. And this race is right in the middle of a back-to-back-to-back for us here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Had Old Spice yesterday, Fuel here tonight, and then, of course, tomorrow night. The first ever race that'll be live streamed here on the North American Sim Racing Network, the regular season finale for the NR2003 Mission Barbecue Cup Series season. Caleb, you're going to be running for a chase spot tomorrow evening. Certainly going to be a fun super speedway race in basically Pacific Racing's home track up in the Emerald City.
Yeah, we're looking forward to tomorrow's race as well. Like you said, first race to be live streamed. Definitely intrigued to see how that will go. But yeah, Armory Digital, always usually a very fun racetrack here in NR, and definitely cannot wait to see how everything will go out going into the chase. We are in a very good spot to potentially make the chase. Really excited to potentially be competing in that chase for, I believe, the first time in my NBCS career.
I think I'm trying to remember, I think you were in there back in 2021. Your teammate Braden Perez, in all 3 seasons that he has competed, actually all 4 seasons that he has competed in so far, has been in the chase. I think I have that math backwards. He's been in the series for 4 seasons. This is his 4th season. He's been in the previous 3 seasons, so he's looking to get into the chase for the championship for the 4th time in his career. Same thing with the boss man of Brennan Wilmington. So tomorrow evening, certainly going to be fun. We got a lot of drivers on the cut line trying to get into this chase for the championship here on the NBCS side of things. But nonetheless, certainly going to have a lot of action here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Qualifying getting started here. We'll go into the standings for qualifying as nobody has taken a time just yet. Again, takes about 2 minutes to get around CCIR, but based on what we've seen from the qualifying results, the practice results, we expect Dunlop Prod to be up towards the top end of the board. Same thing with Apollo Hyde. She's looking for her 2nd win of the season, won the season opener at Auto Club. Ike Durbin trying to get things done as well. He is currently 2nd in points, 12 points back of Keon Daly. But anybody can win here tonight. It's going to be quite certainly one heck of a race, Caleb.
That is absolutely for certain. Got a lot of strong drivers up here in this field, and we've had a very fun season up to this point here so far. Definitely going to be intriguing to see who will be fighting it out for the win here tonight. and who eventually will walk away with the win and the points. And of course, definitely intriguing to see how the point standings will shake out today after everything is said and done. Here we go, is qualifying starting to get our first couple of times in, and right now Dunlop Prod currently sits at the top of the standings. Never mind, Apollo Hyde gonna go quickest here for the first lap, it seems like.
Apollo Hyde beating him out by half a second there. 144.101 for the 100 of Hyde. LaPrade 144.605. And that was a flying lap there from that 100 machine of Hyde. Looking to win her 4th championship in a row. She's won 3 championships, I believe, maybe 5th championship in a row. Won the championship for the Fuel Sportsman Series about a month and a half ago. Locked that up prior to our season finale at Michigan. Then won the Fuel Grand National Championship a couple of weeks later. And right now does have a win and currently sits 3rd in the point standings, if I'm not mistaken. Again, going back to last week's Augusta race, 6 yellow flags, and Ike Durbin surviving a late race restart to win last week's Coca-Cola 107 at the Augusta Speedway. That was certainly a race of all time. Top 10 drivers have posted time so far with 1 minute and 53 seconds to go in qualifying. Right now, Apollo Hyde continuing to hold the top spot there in that number 100 machine. But Caleb, what are your expectations for these guys going into this race? Right now, I believe we've got 11 guys in the server, and there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide for these guys really much at a road course like this.
Kind of like you touched on, it's a very technical road course probably that we're going to be going to here tonight, and a lot of factors are going to be going into this thing, so definitely going to be interesting to see how all these drivers adapt to this road course and try and master it. It seems like Apollo Hyde is already doing just that right now, sitting at the top of the board. We'll have to see once second laps come in, but still, that is a fantastic first lap for Apollo Hyde. So definitely, Hyde is definitely a driver to watch out for. I can definitely say that. I've had some experience with Apollo in online racing. I remember back in the Dyer/Score days racing alongside Apollo, and they are incredibly good here on these road courses. So that would definitely be a driver that I'd watch out for. Same for Dunlop Rod. He's a great driver as well. Have some experience with him. But yeah, still, I'd say anybody in this field could potentially have a chance here tonight. We got a strong field that'll be going at it for this race win. So like I said, I guess we'll just have to wait and see who will be in the mix for it once the checkered flag falls.
Certainly will be, as everybody continuing to wrap up qualifying. Getting the new graphic up and running here for the Menards starting lineup. And of course, if anybody is interested in sponsoring anything here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Racing League, whether it be the Sportsman division or the Grand National division, links below down in the comments section for if anybody wants to donate any sort of money, monetary value, anything helps, trying to put on some good quality broadcasting here for a lot of really, really good guys that are going to put on one whale of a show. And happy hour has begun. Corbin Wentz, the only driver not to take a lap. And how about this? Looks like Tyler Stallhood going to pop into the server this evening, and he has. So a late addition from Stallhood, who did not turn a lap. But Apollo Hyde, Dunlop Rod, your front row. Emi Schizzato, Vincenzo Focusato in first and second. Schizzato and Focusato third and fourth. Conti and Daly round out your top 6. And we'll get to happy hour here in just a couple of moments once the official standings have come in here for these guys. But again, very, very technical racetrack, and one that was certainly going to be a heck of a lot of fun for these guys.
Apollo Hyde with a great lap there in qualifying, going to nab the pole by about 0.5 of a second back to the second place car, Dunlop Rod, and both have a pretty solid gap back to third on back. So I honestly say if anybody would be the ones to watch here in this one, it'd probably end up being Hyde and LaPrade. Great laps from them in qualifying, and nice to see Stallhood showing up for tonight's race as well. Of course, like you mentioned, showed up not in time to set a qualifying lap, but still going to be nice to see Stallhood out there on the racetrack Also got Corbin Wentz that didn't set a qualifying lap, so it'll be interesting to see what these two guys can do from the back of the field, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Definitely we'll have to wait and see. That's always the number one thing that we're always concerned about, is just waiting and seeing, playing the waiting game, and unfortunately it is kind of a pain in the neck sometimes to be playing that waiting game, but overall, once you stop waiting, once the waiting has unfortunately stopped, everybody puts on one whale of a show, that's for darn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly is. And I believe you were on the Fast Racing League race at Watkins Glen a couple of days ago, and that battle between Zach Rogers, I'm trying to remember who else that was at the end. That was one whale of a show there that you and Andrew Miller were putting together.
Definitely. I believe it was Rogers and Randall Coleman, if my mind serves me correctly.
I believe it was.
They gave us an absolute all-out brawl to the finish. Some great, clean battling all the way to the checkered flag, and honestly, you kind of gave shades of Connor Zilic and Shane Van Gisbergen whenever they race on the road courses together, but we'll have to see if we see something similar here tonight. Definitely have a lot of strong drivers in this field, so we will definitely have to see. But regardless of the fact, like I said, it's going to be a very, very fun race here tonight from the Cape, and a decently long race ahead of us, so a lot could potentially go down here in this time, but said it countless times tonight. We'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Again, that's always the magic word around here. Waiting and seeing, waiting and seeing. Waiting once again to be putting in these graphics here. You know what? We're just not going to have the time and intervals. We're just going to have the pull time up here for Apollo Hyde. How about that up in there? But get that situated. Get the other graphic in as well, and then we will be ready to go here. About 6 minutes to go in happy hour. With right now Dunlop at the top of the charts in that scenario, in that case. Looks like we're going to have 11 cars starting this race. Rather scratch that, we are going to be having 12 cars start this race. And Caleb, you've done a lot of online racing yourself. What's the biggest mindset that you go into going into any of these online races on a road course, where, especially at a technical track like Cape Cod?
Well, honestly, at a road course, especially with a track like this, I would be lying if I said my first instinct wasn't just survival. Usually, these races can have a lot go down in them, and sometimes you just have to keep the car on the racetrack, take advantage of what you can, and sometimes, who knows, you'll be in the mix once it matters most. But yeah, I'd say just keep the car on the racetrack, maximize your lap times, and I'd say that's probably the best mindset you could probably have here at a road course like this.
Certainly is, especially at such a technical track like this, like we have seen all afternoon long. Again, it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be one whale of a show here. Now we're going to get to see these guys turn them loose here in about 5 minutes' time. I believe that should do everything here. So we'll go back to the live cam and back to Keon Daly, runner-up finisher in that race at Augusta 1 week ago. We'll take a look at today's starting lineup. Apollo Hyde, top of the charts with a 1:44.01 second time. Actually, 13 cars are starting in this race. So, that graphic will be wrong, but honestly, who really cares? We'll take a look at the Raybestos 120K race analysis. 13 cars starting, 27 laps for 120 kilometers. Point of no return, lap 21, 5 laps to go. Like we said, nearly 3 miles in length here at this famous facility And again, it is almost pretty much flat racing, kind of like Heartland Park in a way, with how flat this track is. Not a whole lot of banking. In fact, no banking. Like we said, that speed limit on pit lane, 55 miles an hour, exponentially fast for a road course. These guys going to be able to do about 12 to 14 laps on tires and fuel. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how these guys are able to manage their stuff here. We got 13 cars. Our third race in a row of having more than 12 cars on the grid. We had 18 last week at Augusta for a wild, wild race at the Augusta Motor Speedway. That was just so chaotic, but also so freaking fun at the same time. And we're bound to have another fantastic race like this here this afternoon. 2 minutes to go in happy hour before we'll grid them up on the back straightaway. There's Tyler Stallhood in that Raybestos number 7 Toyota. Some good brand identity here for the Raybestos 120K. We'll see what the Raybestos car is able to do as he'll start a little bit deeper in the field than we've seen. There's a look at Lucas Kennedy, new sponsorship there for that number 20 machine. Amarianos Fernando sponsoring that Dodge. Like we said, some Cinnabon colors there, a tertiary scheme for Keon Daly. Vincenzo Focusata piloting that number 37 Best Water Technologies Pontiac for Millennium Autosport. 2/3 of the Millennium Autosport camp are in the race here this evening, with Ike Durbin the other entry. Rich Roy still has yet to make a start this season. Of course, hopefully he'll be on here, and a couple other drivers that have not come in here this evening. Blake Warren and Bill Turner. In fact, Blake Warren, Bill Turner, and Crystal Bennett and Keith Hughes. 4 drivers that have not come back after last week's race. We're still waiting to see Brendan Whitford on the circuit. Same thing as Rich Roy, Jesse Bowling, and Jason Stereo. Also not starting here in tonight's contest. I'm glad everybody could tune in to tonight's race here on the North American Sim Racing Network. 44 seconds to go here in happy hour. Dunlaprod running right at the top of the board. And Laprod was the quickest, most consistently in that practice session. He came in here a little bit late, but he was able to knock down some really good times. But again, Apollo Hyde, they are one of the best road racers and just race all around really good racers that we have seen here in the Fuel Racing League and just in all of NR 2003 spaces.
Yeah, definitely, like I said, from my experiences with racing with Apollo, she is incredibly rapid, especially here on these road courses. So, honestly, if I were to pick one driver, my eyes would probably be on that 100 here tonight.
We're getting ready to turn them on and grid them up here in just a couple of moments. Tyler Stallhood will spin that 7 car right through the corner, I believe. We've got about 2 more minutes here in bonus time. Again, looking ahead to the upcoming schedule here on the NASRN, we've got tonight's race and then tomorrow night's race on the Mission Barbecue Cup Series front, a 9 p.m. airtime. We're going to have 5 minutes of happy hour, 5 minutes of pre-race, so about 9:15, I would gauge, is when we're going to turn them loose at the Armory Digital Super Speedway tomorrow evening. I'm taking a look at some of the chase for the championship points there for the MBCS side of things in just a moment. Caleb, I know that you're a little bit above the cut line in that department. We'll get the specifics here in just a moment with about a minute to go here in bonus time. Now, you are currently 5th in the point standings, 138 points above the cut line. Carson Miller and Angel Gutierrez representing that cut line coming into tonight or tomorrow's contest. Rather, Alex Lozano and Logan Williams representing that 44-point cut line. But Caleb, you look to be in good position to make the chase for the championship tomorrow evening. What are you looking forward to about tomorrow night's race in Pacific Racing's home backyard?
Like I said, Armory Digital, usually always a fun racetrack, usually always produces some very fun races offline here in NR, so definitely looking forward to see what tomorrow night's race will bring, and I guess, yeah, for myself and my team, just try to keep the cars clean, I guess, bring it home in one piece. A win would definitely be nice being in Pacific Racing's backyard, but of course, still got to kind of look at the big picture as well. The chase right there on the horizon, and all of us in a great spot to make it in. So just go for whatever we can, potentially get us in a good spot to make the chase, and maybe we'll be in a position to win. We'll just have to wait and see.
Certainly is, as the cars will grid up over on the corner on the chute between turns 16 and 17. Cars beginning to grid up there in fact, between turns 15 and 16. Apollo Hyde on the pole position in the number 100. We'll see what she'll be able to do here in just a couple of moments, but we're going to send it down trackside to get the most famous words in motorsport to kick off race number 3 of season number 3, the 2025 Fuel Sportsman Series, the Raybestos 120K here at Cape Cod. We'll send it downstairs for the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines roar to life here between turns 15 and 16 at Cape Cod. Your starting lineup presented by Menards on the left-hand side of your screen. Apollo Hyde sits on the pole position in the 100. Dunlop Prod makes up row number 1. Emi Schizzato and Vincenzo Focusato in row number 2. Nicky Conti, Keon Daly in row 3. 20 machine of Lucas Kennedy and Ike Durbin, row number 4. The 13 starters here this evening at Cape Cod. Another look at the race analysis real quick as Apollo Hyde will lead them down the front straightaway. The restart zone is a start-finish line as Hyde will see the green flag waving in the air. 27 laps around the cliffs of Cape Cod are underway.
Boogity, boogity.
And right into the opening set of corners. Does anybody go around? They do not. Everybody, Emi Schizzato, rather, Raffaella Sorensen gets tagged by the 49. Joey Tartamella getting caught up, and I believe the caution flag will come out for the opening time today, and it does. And we knew that that opening corner was going to be certainly a big factor in this contest to what these guys are able to do and not able to do. As Apollo Hyde will lead the field back around here under our first caution flag of the evening. Caleb, not the start that you would want here, especially for both Raffaella Sorensen, as Corbin went a little bit loose coming off of the corner. And not the greatest of starts to the career of Joey Tortomella. He's going around there in that 49 car. We'll get another look at it here in just a moment. But not the greatest of starts here to a race that's supposed to be 27 laps long. Didn't even get through corner number 1.
27 lap race, but still, turn 1, lap 1, everybody's all bunched together, everybody trying to go for what they can, and sometimes can get a little too close, and it looks like that could have been what happened there. Raffaella Sorensen there in the 42 going around. Joey Tartamella also getting collected as well. Tough debut there so far for Tartamella, but we'll have to see if he can regroup and go back at it here once we get back green. But and not the cleanest of starts, but still, everybody still going, still here on the racetrack, and it doesn't really look like anybody has much damage, if at all.
Yeah, it was. We take a look at the replay here on your screen. Looks like Tyler Stallhood ran in the back end of that Sector Media 49 Chevrolet. And so, said Emi Schizzato there for a brief moment. That is Raffaella Sorensen driving that Silver Bullet-inspired number 42 Coors Light Dodge. 49 car going around. I think he just locked up the corner going into turn number 2. Like we said in the pre-race show, that's going to be the biggest trouble spot for these guys, is that opening set of corners. And unfortunately, the rookie of Tartamella just going around there. We'll get another look at it. Here, we'll go on board with that 49 car going through that section. We go on board with Tartamella there in that 49 machine, just overcooking it a little bit and getting up into the 42. No harm, no foul, it looks like. Is everybody able to get by nice and orderly? Tough break early on for both of those drivers. And we'll go back here to the front end of this grid. So Apollo Hyde leads these guys around. We're going to go ahead and see if these guys indeed came down the pit lane that last time around. I believe they did. They, in fact, did not. They'll be coming around to the pit lane this time around. Now, that's how long these caution laps are here at this track. Only on lap number 2. And we're able to do multiple replays there for that incident over in turns 1 and 2. Lucas Kennedy a little bit squirrely off the corner there in that 20 machine as he'll catch up to the tail end of the field here. And we'll see if these guys will come down the pit lane. We're going to see how many caution laps these guys will do. Nobody's going to come down the pit lane for fresh Goodyears this time. Nicky Conti, the only car not involved in that accident, will come down. 4 cars coming down with Stallhood, Conti, Sorensen, and Tartamella. The 4 drivers heading down into the pit area. I believe we should be getting the lights off on the pace car this time around. Everybody will be getting the 1 to go signal. It looks like we'll do another handful of laps here potentially. But good start there for Apollo Hyde in that 100 machine. You see that Pontiac trying to keep their tires warm. Returning back to the very colorful gold paint scheme. Advantix Kodiak car. After running a one-off race last week in the 100, the Grass Wonder Memorial car. Apollo Hyde back in the Kodak Advantix machine. Hopefully looking to keep that car 2 for 2 in victory lane this season. The Grass Wonder car, unfortunately, not getting a good result as the field has gotten the 1 to go signal as everybody will come off of the pit lane. Tartamella a little slow coming off of the access road as Lucas Kennedy also coming down. But Caleb, these guys are going to be whipping it around here on this restart, and everybody's going to be single file, not as bunched up as we saw on that double file start. Hopefully we can get 1 lap of green flag racing here before this is all said and done.
Hopefully we can get a bit of a clean restart this time around, so we maybe get some racing in here from Cape Cod, but definitely going to be intriguing. This restart will be. A couple cars, of course, came down for a little bit of service there, a little bit of touch-up, so definitely going to be intriguing to see how that will play into effect as this race goes along. But of course, Apollo Hyde still with the race lead there after the opening lap, so he will be your race leader here coming, or she, excuse me, will be your race leader here coming back to the green. Looks like here on lap number 4.
Indeed it is, and already just way around here on this winding back straightaway, 3 miles in length. Here at Cape Cod, it takes 2 minutes to whip around this track under green. See field will go down a little bit of a downhill section going into turns 11, 12, and 13. That little switchback in there. The field will go up through turn number 14. But again, that area between turns 11, 12, and 13, that's going to be another trouble spot for these guys. Seen a lot of guys in practice overshoot that corner because that switchback of corners comes up and just bites you right in the rear bumper. These guys going to be looking to get around here for 1 lap cleanly. Pontiac pace car down in the pit area. These guys ready to go back green here on lap number 4. Apollo Hyde will lead them back through the restart zone to the restart line. Green flag back out in the air here at Cape Cod, and Dunlop immediately firing that 74 car down to the inside. Does everybody keep it straight this time around? LaProd's got a little bit of a ledge going up through the corner, making sure everybody will get through the first set of corners nice and easily, and they do. And LaProd will get around the 100 car off of the corner going into turn 4.
Nicky Conti in the 85 got sideways on that restart, almost lost the car, and lost quite a bit of ground there in the 85. Might have even gone around slightly, but it didn't look like it went fully around, so we stay green. But a tough break there for Conti, going to lose a bit of time there.
And a very tough break for Vincenzo Focasato as the 77 Corbin Wentz getting turned. That was towards the tail end of the field. No caution coming out as Wentz has that 77 car stuck in the grass. Conti has been able to get around as we had a little bit more trouble back in there. As Wentz will get that Thunderbolts car back refired and going, and we remain green, but Dunlop out front there in car number 74 as he'll go through the back end of the course through turn number 12.
Tyler Stoll a bit loose there in the 7. Lucas Kennedy in the 20 goes around.
Kennedy going around there on the back straightaway.
Oh, another car off to the grass. Kenny Campos.
Campos there in that KOA of Dover Chevrolet going around a little bit, but some single car spins, not enough to put us back under the caution flag, and Kenny Campos' entire right-hand side of that 79 car destroyed. Getting a good look at it there as they're off of turn number 17. Tough break for Kenny. He was running back in the 4th position at the time. And we do have a 3-car breakaway up at the front end of this field. LaProd, Hyde, and how about Emmy Schizzato there in that target number 9? Ran well at Augusta last week and has been able to... She's going to be up in this battle for this top spot here. But Apollo Hyde trying to chase back down Dunlop there in that Chester's Family Market 74. LaProd has been up towards the front end of a lot of these battles this season. He was going to be in the running for that win in Augusta last week, but unfortunately an ill-timed caution right in the middle of the final set of pit stops. Ironically enough, with Lucas Kennedy, and trouble for Joey Tortomella. Heavy damage for that 49 car, and it looks like he absolutely junked that thing. It's Buddy Campos going around once again in the 79. But we remain green. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what happened there to that number 49 car. It's Joey Tortomella in his first stop, or in his first start, and well, this is unfortunately what happened to Tortomella. Going into turn number 1, was blown past the 85 and the 79. Oh my goodness, this is a violent hit right into the tire barriers head on. Similar to what happened with Denny Hamlin back at Watkins Glen in 2012. And he absolutely stuffed that Sectator Media car head on into the tire barriers. That is an unfortunate break there for Joey Tortomella, who will undoubtedly end his race in the garage area after that hit.
Really tough break there for Tortomella there in his debut. A lot of front end damage to that 49, and wouldn't doubt if that would probably spell an end to his race, so that's really unfortunate there for him. But LaProd in the 74 doing a good job out here in this race lead. Got the lead from Apollo Hyde there on the restart. Looking to hold on to it here on the lap number 6. Apollo Hyde still running in second. Nice to see Amy Schizzato there in the 9 running in the 3rd position. She's doing a great job here so far, trying to stay with our top 2.
Ike Durbin off track in the back there. That was the battle for 5th, as Focasato will get around Durbin, who is going to fall back a little bit in the points. Durbin, last time by, was running in 5th, and he will go around and he'll surrender a spot to Focasato. And Sorensen trying to catch up to that number 86 car as well. Coors Light Silver Bullet trying to get around Durbin. Again, nobody... No, I think it's safe to say is trouble for Schizzato running off course there in turn number 16. I can't get a single word of thought across without somebody unfortunately having an issue. That's road racing on a technical track like this, Caleb. It's that there is action all over the place. Everybody's struggling here in the opening stages of this contest, and Schizzato losing a lot of track time to the leaders. Doesn't look like it was a whole lot. Maybe lost about half a second to the 100 machine, but not what you want to see out of Schizzato. Still runs in third. Everybody's got a pretty big lead over the 94 of Keon Daly, but again, like we said, nobody in here is Shane Van Gisbergen, maybe aside from Apollo Hyde. You know, road racing for NR guys who are used to running on traditional high-banked ovals, it's a little bit of an alien art form. But these guys up to the task. Laprade, Hyde, and Schizzato, class of the field right now. But it certainly hasn't been an easy race for any of these guys. A lot of guys with both front end, rear end, side end, engine, whatever you want to call it, damage. And they're certainly just trying to tangle and tame the track here up in Cape Cod, which has been just one heck of a race so far, Caleb.
It has been a very interesting race here so far, and like you were kind of touching on, NR online road course races is definitely kind of just its own ballpark compared to the oval races. There's a lot of different factors that go into these races compared to the ovals, so it's kind of definitely, like you said, its own art form. And right now, Dunn Laprade and Apollo Hyde painting a perfect picture here right now, currently running 1-2, and Apollo's looking to potentially close in here to the 74 of Dunn Laprade. Like I said, with road courses being just so kind of vastly different, we often see quite a lot of action here in these races. Quite a lot of action here tonight so far here from Cape Cod. It's still far from over as Joey Tardamel in the 49 actually getting service in the pits, maybe looking to try and return to the racetrack in the 49.
I mean, that is a miracle. They do run moderate damage here in fuel in the Sportsman series, so I guess, you know, stuffing it in the wall like that, typically we see that being mortal damage. We saw that with Blake Warren and Corbin Wentz hitting the wall of death at Augusta last week. But I guess hitting a wall at that speed, I guess he was able to drive away, and they're trying to service that car. We'll see what they're able to do to that 49 machine, and Joey is going to be able to drive that car out of the pit lane, albeit 2 laps down. Corbin Wentz has retired from the race as well, so 11 cars remain on the track here at Cape Cod. And Laprade and Hyde right now it's in a 2-car tango, is Schizzato falling back a little bit more there in that 9 machine, back by about maybe a quarter mile in that Target Ford. But this has just been one heck of a battle up in here between Hyde and Laprade. And Hyde, you see that 100 car rolling through the corner. That looked like that one clip of Dale Sr.'s car at Watkins Glen that was making the rounds of NASCAR social media. How just the body was rolling through the corner, a thing of beauty here out the road courses. And Hyde has just been able to get right on the back end of that 74 car. Laprade a little bit loose out of 16. Hyde might be able to get around this 74 car going into turn number 2 if she plays her cards right. Back by about a car length. We're going to be going here for the dive on this run. Not quite yet, but again, the tire aware that these guys are running and putting, especially that right front tire through, going through such a sharp corner like that. These guys are going to be skating on ice, basically on ice skates for the next couple of laps here before they'll come down the pit lane. Again, we expect these guys to come down anywhere between 12 and 14 laps. But the tire wear is going to be massive, as Kenny Campos right now in the crossfire of these 2 leaders here over the next couple of laps. Tough break for Campos as Tardamel able to get that 49 car back out and going, currently 3 laps down in that Monte Carlo. He is very, very loose there going back through 16. And the Prod right now showing the way in front of this 100. Going through the back end of the field.
But Apollo Hyde not letting him get away. Hyde has pretty much stayed that on his back bumper ever since the car got around her on that restart. And these two have been honestly kind of shaping up a really great battle here. Could potentially happen as this race goes along. But Hyde still staying right in behind the 74 Dummer Prod, potentially looking for an opportunity, any opportunity that she can get.
Ooh, Buddy Compost nearly in the way of that 74. Oh, LaPrade a little bit wide off of the corner. He gets into the wall.
Oh, this could be an opportunity.
Here comes Hyde right on the back end of that 74 machine. Are they going to go for the dive this time? No, they're not. Oh, are they? Here they comes. Here comes Hyde looking for the move. He'll get there, but LaPrade looking for the crossover side by side for the race lead. LaPrade will let the 100 go by. Here he comes trying to go the outside. Door to door going through the corner into turn number 4. Who's going to break the latest? And LaPrade will snooker back around the 100. Excellent driving by both of these veterans here. And LaPrade is able to get back in, but Hyde not resisting. She's still right on the back end of that Chester's Monte Carlo. Here she comes back down to the inside. There's still door to door. LaPrade trying to utilize the momentum. He's carrying on the outside. They bang off of the corner.
That'd be good potential to have a battle leading up between these two, and we're seeing it right now. All Apollo needed was that opportunity. The 74 getting into the outside wall there off the final corner. That was all Hyde needed, and now, after about a whole lap, we're still side by side up here for this race lead, and none of them giving an inch.
Side by side at a road course is one of the greatest things you can see as they nearly make contact again going through 13. Still, it is LaPrade's favor, and Hyde just trying to find another ledge around that 74 car. A little bit of a warp there going through the corner. But Hyde is able to gather that 100 machine back up and going. And again, we've got... Oh, Hyde is going to lock the brakes going through turn 17. And that's going to provide some well-needed space there for the 74 car. Lucas Kennedy down the pit lane. And now that Hyde is actively battling for the race lead here, we're going to go ahead and go on board with the lap here with Apollo Hyde in this 100 machine around this race course. Going through turns 3 and 4 onto the in and out section of this course underneath of the Northeast Grand Bridge. Through the mobile switchback and Hyde, I think may have flat spotted the tires going through the corner. Mistake, still catching up to Hyde just a little bit, and the caution flag has come out here actually. Caution flag on the speedway. Not sure what the yellow flag was for. That came out of absolutely nowhere. We were having one heck of a battle with these guys, but the yellow flag coming out. And this is going to change everything. It's going to re-rack them and bring everybody back in together here, Caleb.
Definitely going to re-rack, restack everybody. Have another restart here from Cape Cod. And big break there for Apollo Hyde, who you saw that lock up there in the final corner, and going to catch right back up here to the 74 of LaPrade, and maybe even give the opportunity to come down and get some fresh tires. Let's see what they do, but
I'm curious to see what the cause for the caution was. It may have been Joey Tardamala going around, or maybe Lucas Kennedy. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
It may have been Tardamala who overshot the corner, maybe making some contact. Oh, I see Stallhood around, as well as Ike Durbin. I believe we have our culprits for this second caution. And we'll get a look at it here. As Stallhood into the corner, but I don't think he's going to make any contact with the 86 car. Yeah, it was just both cars going off at the exact same time into the sand trap. Durbin, the points leader, going to lose a little bit more position there onto the back end of Keon Daly. So Durbin right now, who was actually, Durbin was in the points lead. Right there, Keon Daly was in the points lead. Durbin might lose a little bit more time as he's able to keep that 86 car back and rolling, but good lord, that came out of absolutely nowhere. But yeah, so did the caution that brought us back after that race, or right at the tail end of the race at Augusta. But this is certainly going to shape up to be very, very, very interesting for all these guys involved, Caleb. As Leprod and Hyde had about a 5-second lead over Schizzato, actually scratched that, a 17-second lead over Schizzato. They were in their own zip code compared to Schizzato. And now everybody going to be back up right behind them on fresh Goodyear Eagles, I imagine. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
This is definitely shaping up to be quite the interesting restart, because, yeah, I definitely imagine probably everybody might end up coming down the pit lane here for some fresh rubber, and I think everybody might be able to make it to the end from here. We're about halfway through, and I think the pit window was about 17, 18 laps.
I think
correctly
about that.
So,
well, I think Hyde was saying that they could make it about 14 laps on fuel in testing, and we're only on lap number 12, so lap 26. We might see this turn to a good old-fashioned fuel mileage race.
Boy,
but then again, that is assuming that we run the rest of this race under the green flag, which I really doubt, given that everybody's just going to be very aggressive on what could be the final restart, but I imagine that it won't be. But Leprod getting 4 tires, and who's going to win the race off the pit lane is going to be interesting. It will be Dun Leprod who will get it. The 100 will get out in second. The 9 of Schizzato third. Keon Daly will round out the top 4. Nicky Conti overdrove the pit stall there in the 85, so I imagine Vincenzo Focusato. No, it's going to be Raffaella Sorensen will come off of the pit lane in the 5th position. Stallhood and Durbin just getting to their pit stalls. We get a good look there at the 85 car, and we'll get some lap down drivers that'll hit the pit lane here shortly. So the field will get the 1 to go signal behind the Pontiac pace car, and Apollo Hyde over gap to the corner there, just a little bit there in that 100 machine. There's a good look at Tartamella there in that number 49 car. Overshooting the course. Hey, no track limits here in NASCAR. None of that pansy sort of Formula One stuff we see over in Europe. This is American racing here in the Fuel Racing League.
Track is track.
Yeah. So Leprod is going to get the race lead here. We're coming around to 14 laps to go. Approaching the midway point in this contest. Down the hill they go between turns 14 and 15. Rather, turns 13 and 14 as the lap down cars will come down the pit lane to get what'll likely be their final stops. And they might get trapped a lap down here with the field coming back to the green flag. This could be something to keep tabs on, both Campos and Tortomella coming down. But the pace car off of the pit lane. We're going to get this race restarted here on lap number 14. Leprod, Hyde, Schizzato, your top 3. Sorensen, Daly, your top 5. Everybody racing back to the restart here. Leprod out front, Hyde hot on his heels, green flag back out in the air. And we are not going to get a green flag. Actually, we're going to get one more pace lap as everybody will catch up. Had a similar incident happen at Augusta last week where not everybody was caught up. Had some guys that were not on the lead lap come down the pit lane. So we're going to do one more pace lap to make sure everybody can pick back up here, Caleb. And hey, a little bit more time being spent watching these guys trundle around here. And we'll officially cross into the tail end of this race next time by.
It's been an excellent first half here so far here from Cape Cod. We saw a lot of great battles, a lot of action, especially great battle there for that race lead between Dunlop and Apollo Hyde. And now that they're both bunched back up together and both on fresh rubber, this is shaping up to be another great battle potentially here for this race. And you've also got Emmy back up here in the 9, and we saw earlier on in that run that they were able to kind of keep pace with our top 2. So I have to see if maybe lightning strikes twice, or we'll have to see if Emmy can keep up once again. Potentially make this a 3-horse race for this lead. You've also got Sorensen up here doing a good recovery so far from that first lap spin in the 42 and now up into 4th. Let's see what she might have there in the 42 as well.
And it looks like we might be getting another pace lap after this. We'll see if we'll be getting the 1 to go signal this next time around, as everybody will continue to catch up here. Again, this track is just so massive that it takes a while for these guys to catch up, even when everybody is running, 100 mile an hour slower. These guys, you see Campos and Tortomella going through the corner. They're just on the front straightaway now. They've got to make up a whole lap to catch up to these guys. So we're going to be doing another lap. But again, it has been one heck of a race so far. And once we get the 1 to go signal and everybody catches up, we're in fact going to be... We're going to go back and watch that last restart between the 74 and the 100. As everybody will catch back up, and I believe we are going to be getting the 1 to go signal next time around. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that last restart there. So again, there is the 74 car, immediately shunts to the inside, and I didn't notice that Schizotto went around as well, and there was the 85 car sideways across the front straightaway. So I'm not sure if Hyde thought that was going to be a caution, but Laprade immediately thrusting that 74 car down to the inside, and he was able to make it stick off of the corner. Schizotto, a really good save there on that target Ford. And Laprade would hold on to the race lead for the entirety of that last run. Big part of the reason why he is still up at the front end of this field. And we're going to go ahead once again and take a look at that back and forth battle between those two. Because that was, oh boy, Caleb, that was certainly some of the best racing that we have seen all season long so far in this young season.
Yeah, definitely. That was a fantastic battle between Laprade and Hyde that we saw there at the mid stages of that run. And like I said, we'll have to see if we potentially do another battle like that here this time around, now that everybody's back on fresh tires. Definitely looking forward to seeing how this restart will go. I mentioned in the latter half of this race now, and time is starting to wind down a little bit, so progression, of course, is sure to ramp up here, and of course, with the possibility that this could be the final restart in everybody's minds, that should play a factor in this as well.
It certainly is. We continue to get a look at this battle here all the way back on lap number 10 of 27. Everybody going side by side. That's where they both banged off of the corner there in turn 9. Hyde warping out just a little bit there in that 100, but they were side by side for about half, maybe about 2/3 of the lap around here. Laprade trying to thunder that 74 car around as well, and everybody was just absolutely manhandling their cars side by side through the corner. That this battle, just a thing of beauty between these two, and certainly going to be a thing of beauty here right on the restart for these guys. So we go ahead and take a look at our fastest lap of the race. Apollo Hyde with a 1 minute and 45 second lap. here for the driver of the number 100 machine. That is your fastest lap of the race so far. 13 next time by, 12 laps to go. In this Raybestos 120K. Laprade, Hyde, Schizzato, Sorensen, Daly, your top 5. And behind them, a lot of other hungry race car drivers looking to get the job done here at Cape Cod. Green flag back out in the air. 12 laps to go, and Schizzato will jump underneath of the 74. Here comes Daly. Here comes Hyde. Side by side. Someone's squealing in the back. Stallhood nearly getting squirrely, and here comes Hyde once again. Daly trying to get in this battle as well. 2 cars, 4 cars all under a blanket, and Laprade will get the jump off the corner.
Apollo got the run there and stay clear of the 100 of Apollo High. Man, that was a crazy restart. I got to mention they were pretty much about the top 4 under a blanket there going into turn number 1, and still they're pretty close to each other. Schizzato in the 9 there over the curve, almost got into the back of the 100 there of Apollo High, but both cars keep it straight, and Schizzato is still trying to hold on, keep touch with the top 2. Keon Daly now under fire here from the 37 of Vincenzo. Side by side here for the 4th position, excuse me, and the 37 they're going to clear. It's off the track, goes Schizzato with a 9 into the dirt, and that's going to cost quite a bit of time there. So our top 2 looking to potentially break away here once again, and Laprade especially trying to pull away with the lead.
Yeah, he got a really, really good jump off of that restart. It's everybody rolling through the corner. Look at Keon Daly two-wheeling that car up through turn 13. It's everybody manhandling their automobiles up and down through the corner, and Laprade got the start of his life right there. But again, 12 laps to go. I think with those extra caution laps, everybody should be able to make it to the end of this race on fuel. Now, on tires is going to be an entirely new phenomenon that we might potentially see, as everybody will ride around here. 2 caution flags. 6 laps ran under the yellow flag so far in this contest, and it has been Dunlaprade's race to lose so far in this game. Of course, Apollo Hyde, the pole sitter, was able to beat out Laprade by about half a second on the Q lap. But Laprade, like we talked about in the pre-race show, was fastest in practice, fastest in happy hour, and was overall the most consistent in that 74. It's one thing to be fast in qualifying, but to be able to put down consistent laps and to fight in traffic, whole different beast, and seen a lot of that out of Dunlaprade. Still looking for his first win here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Apollo Hyde does have 1 win under her belt. That win coming back at the Auto Club race 2 weeks ago tonight. Trying to go for 2 for 2 in that number 100 machine. Schizzato right now rounding out the podium. Vincenzo Focusato. Talk about a good recovery for Focusato in that 37 machine.
Vincenzo there in the 37 running well. Great recovery. Up into the 4th position now is the 37. Our top 2 starting to try and pull away here from the rest of the field. Emi Schizzato there in the 9. Trying to hold on to 3rd position. I've seen on comms that it looks like the 9 might have lost 3rd gear. So a bit of a problem there for Schizzato, but trying to hold on to it. I guess the silver lining to that, I guess 3rd would probably be the gear that you'd probably want to lose the most. So definitely probably going to be manageable for the 9 of Emi Schizzato for the time being, but still, having a lost gear is definitely a bit of a burden there.
Oh, especially on a road course like this, where you're going to be shifting up and down, up and down. There are long swaths where you're going to be full throttle, especially on that front straightaway, as we heard her bank shifting going through down the front straightaway. But again, just being, like we've seen from other drivers like Kyle Busch, Alan Kulwicki, on certain tracks like Atlanta back in 1992, Pocono back in 2019, again, you're able to just put the car in 4th and just be able to race around at top speed. At a road course, you're shifting up and down pretty much every single lap, and Again, moving around those broken pieces in the car. If Schizzato is able to hold on to a third-place finish and is able to hold on to that car and baby that car to a podium spot, just a job well done, but it's certainly going to be a very tough task for Schizzato, especially here in these final 10 laps. And Focusato has been reeling her in over the course of these last couple of turns, and he is right on the back end of that 9 machine. See him rolling that car through the center of the corner. Back up in here, Leprad continuing to dominate, has led the most laps here this afternoon so far, but Hyde still just trying to jump on the gas, or ran a 1 minute 44.727 second lap that last time by, so she is the fastest car on the racetrack and still has the fastest lap.
Brad, though, just came by with 144.333. 74 trying to answer back and trying.
Yeah, he got the fastest lap there. Good lord.
Wow.
Flying lap there out of Leprad. That would have won the pole. Actually, that would have been 2/10 of a second off from the pole that Hyde set. So Leprad really flogging it right now, is ahead by about a second and a half, or rather a second and 15 tenths. Got a little bit squirrely coming out of the corner. He's able to keep that 74 car straight as we go back into the rest of the field. There's a look at Kenny Campos, his 79 car. Lost the tail end of the field on that restart. Same thing for Lucas Kennedy, Tyler Stallhood, having a little bit of a rough outing. The trio of cars back in here between Conti, Durbin, and Rafaela Sorensen back in there. Sorensen between the 85 and the 86. 3-car battle for what would potentially be a top 5 spot. Rather, a top, trying to get top 6 spot. Nikki Conti right now holding on to that 6th spot. Got around Rafaela Sorensen. Keon Daly right now inside, the last car inside of the top 5. And Focusato continuing a battle right on the back end of that 9 machine. Is coming to the final 8 laps here. Focusato trying to thunder that 37 car down to the inside. Leprad currently just trying to drive it like he's stolen. Here comes Focusato underneath of Schizzato. He's going to get the run on the inside, and with a working third gear, Vincenzo Focusato will gut up into the podium. 1 spot away off the back end of the 100 machine, who seems to be struggling a little bit, Caleb.
Schizzato tried all they could to hold off the 37, but Gearbox probably just playing the 9 a little too much. Like you said, especially here at a road course, the gears are very, very important because you're just going to be going up and down them all day long, and that's especially why here at the road courses, gear failures are a lot more common, and unfortunately seeing that out of the 9 of Emi Schizzato, and unfortunately lost the 3rd position there to Vincenzo Focusato. Still currently trying to hold on to 4 Keon Daly right now in the 94, currently rounding out your top 5. And probably going to start trying to reel in that 9 machine. Have to see if she can hold on there to the 4th position. But considering the dampers that the damage gearbox probably put on that 9 machine, she's done a great job at trying to mitigate that for now. Still up front, Dunn Leprad is absolutely laying down some flyers there in the 74. As he continues here to try and pull away from that 100 Apollo Hyde.
Certainly is. Just laying down some wicked fast laps. Got about a 10-car length lead over Hyde. Right now, coming into the final 7 laps of this race. And I believe the point of no return is still 5 laps. Taking a look at it once again. Yep, 5 laps to go. Doesn't matter that this is a road course race. The point of no return, still 5 to go here. So again, if anything happens in these next 2 laps, then we will get a restart. Again, everybody is just really spread out right now. The closest battle we have got is between Keon Daly and Nikki Conti. This is the battle for a top 5 spot. See the 9 machine of Schizzato. Heavy braking into that turn number 2, and Daly is going to have a run on the back end of that target Ford. And this is going to be an interesting battle here back up in this battle for 5th between all of these guys. And in fact, this is going to be the battle for 4th back in here. Schizzato just trying to handle that ill-handling race car. Here comes Conti trying to get underneath that Cinnabon Dodge.
Oh, Schizzato goes wide into the
Oh, there she goes. Sorensen able to get underneath of Schizzato, and a bad day getting worse, as looks like Schizzato wheel hopped it getting through turn 4, and she will fall all the way to 8th after being in the 4th spot. A very, very tough break for Schizzato. We saw that live.
Been doing a great job of trying to mitigate the problems that 9 car is facing, and this fortunate wheel hop there for the 9. Center wide, eventually center around, and lose quite a bit of time because of that. That is a really tough break for the 9 machine there, especially with the time starting to run out here for Cape Cod.
Prod continuing to lay down good lap after good lap. That last time by for LaPrade, lost 0.2 of a second off of his best lap, 1:45.594. But he is going to be catching up to lap traffic fairly soon, I would imagine, as Lucas Kennedy, a little bit ways away from the back end of LaPrade. LaPrade through the quote-unquote stadium section between turns 3, 4, and 5. Rather, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, all those turns back in there. So he is still a fair bit away from the back end of Kennedy. I don't think he is going to need, as 9 car of Schizzato off course once again. That was in turn number 2. I believe she wheel hopped it going through the corner, so Schizzato's bad day continuing to get worse and worse as Stallhood now trying to get in front of that 9 car. Conti up to 4th, Daly up to 5th. Durbin right now 2 car lengths away, 2 cars away from Keon Daly in that 94 machine. And Apollo Hyde has really fallen off the back end of the 74. I think Hyde was trying to use up a lot of grip on that restart, and I think she used up a lot of tire wear in the process, as the prod has been smooth as silk sailing in this race. 5 laps to go. If anything happens now, this race is official. Dunlaprod would love to hear caution, caution, caution coming out on his transistor radio, Caleb. He has ran a dominant, near-perfect race so far today, but still, a lot can happen in the near 15 miles that we've still got to go here in this 100K or 120K race.
A lot could definitely still happen, but I'll tell you what, Dunlaprod, just ever since, especially after they got that lead off of that latest restart, they just absolutely pulled away with that race lead. Now, last time around, currently with a 4-second lead back to the 100 of Apollo Hyde. That 74 is just absolutely on rails right now. Still just got a couple laps to go here, and yeah, I'm sure if I was in LaProde's position, I definitely want to hear the caution to get this over sooner than later, but that 74 looks geared in at the moment and looking to bring it home here from Cape Cod.
He's wired in right now. Do want to mention that Tyler Stallhood is in the pit lane. So bring that number 7 Raybestos machine to a halt right behind the start-finish line here. 11 cars still out on track as Joey Tartamala has pulled that number 49 car into the garage area. He joins Corbin Wentz, who is currently 17 laps down after retiring from this race. Closing in on 4 laps to go. That Chester's Family Market 74 machine looking absolutely beautiful right now. Rolling through the corner. Does have a little bit of damage from where he glanced the outside wall. Back on lap number 9 to set up that side-by-side battle that we saw. And that last time around, Hyde 2 laps ago was 4 seconds back and will remain 4 seconds back. Closed in a couple hundredths of a second, but with 4 to go, that is very, very small potatoes for Hyde, who is Just trying to get out as Tyler Stallhood spinning in the stadium section. Is he able to keep that 7-car straight? He is. And that would have been dangerous for the leaders. That would have likely ended the race if Stallhood went around in front of the leaders. Will he get put a lap down will be the question. As Laprade will go through the turn 8 switchback. Stallhood does have fresher rubber. We'll see if anybody else will hit the pit lane again. Everybody came down a lap number 12. With the amount of caution flags that we ran, I believe we should be able to get to the end on fuel well. Again, these guys can do about 14 laps, but that's under speed as Schizzato off track once again. And I think Apollo Hyde, she might be fuel saving a little bit while Laprade is just trying to thunder that 74 car around. That might be the difference between those two cars right now in terms of speed, Caleb, because Hyde not usually this slow off the back end of somebody, and of course Laprade, one of the most talented race car drivers that we have got, but I don't know. Is he going to be gunning for broke here in the 74, and is he going to have enough fuel to make it to the end? That's going to be the big ticket question for all these guys watching at home.
Definitely quite up in the air. Answer to that question. Apollo Hyde is trying everything they can. It seems like to now reel in the 74 of them Laprade, but Laprade still gunning it hard here with just a couple of laps to go. But I do wonder if Apollo might have been maybe fixated there over the course of that run, because Laprade definitely pulled away quite a bit from what we saw on the first run there. So I don't know. Like I've always said, it's not over until it's over. We've still got 3 coming to 2 laps to go, I believe, here in this one. So
Stallhood off track in front of Laprade. He's able to gather that 7 car back up and going, but now Stallhood is going to be in the path of Dun Laprade, so Laprade is going to have to pass some lap traffic before this is all said and done, more than likely. But again, like you said, 4.5 seconds that last time off there between Laprade and Hyde. Hyde losing 0.6 of a second that last time around, but anything can happen when you're trying to get around cars as Stallhood spinning around. Oh, is he able to lock it down? And he will be able to. And Stallhood will get the 7 car back in the right direction. Hyde getting around the Raybestos Camry. And well, the lap traffic question pretty much solved itself as Stallhood spinning around. I thought he was going to go back up through traffic and Laprade was going to have to get around him and make some evasive maneuvers. Sticks high in the air, 2 to go. Dun Laprade continuing to dominate, and unless something drastically bad happens to Lucas Kennedy, should be nothing but clean air and smooth sailing for that Chester's Family Market Chevy Monte Carlo. A beautiful throwback looking car. Perfect for a Cup 98 series here for the Fuel Sportsman series, going back through the rest of the field. Hyde still 4.5 seconds back of the 74. Stallhood trying to race with the fellow co-owner of the Fuel Racing League. Focusato up to 3rd, Conti to 4th. Keon Daly rounding out the top 5. Raffaello Sorensen runs in 6th, Ike Durbin 7th, Emmy Schizzato down in 8th. Kenny Campos in 9th. Lucas Kennedy rounds out all 10 cars. Still out on the lead lap right now. 11 cars on track in total. One of them off of the lead lap being Stallhood in that number 7 machine. A little bit loose out of the switchback there. Turn number 13 for Dun Laprade, but he is able to get things up and going. Up through turn number 16. Little wheel spin out of the back end of the 74, but he will come around this time around. A little bit more lap traffic in the way of Laprade. I imagine they will let him get by. White flag is out, final time around Cape Cod International for Don Laprade, who has dominated this race flag to flag, has led 22 laps, make that 23 laps in this race so far. And Caleb, like you said, it was a great side-by-side battle between Apollo Hyde and Don Laprade in the middle stages of this race, but Laprade a little bit more consistent. Lucas Kennedy around in the corner. Laprade able to get through nice and orderly. He's not out of the woods yet. Oh boy.
Definitely not out of the woods just yet. Kenny Campos there, and then 79 are going to move over on the curb there.
Yeah,
he's
just going to go through the grass, and that 79, everybody letting the leaders go by. Schizzato now next up on the chopping block to go a lap down, but I doubt that Dunn will catch up to her before this all said and done. Valiant effort there for Apollo Hyde. Second does suck, but still a really good point stay for Hyde. Stallhood running off course, nearly hit the wall of death there. Oh boy.
Nice. What a race it has been here from Cape Cod. And just what a performance here in the latter half of this race by Don Laprade. Like I said, after getting the lead on that restart, he just gapped Hyde and he's running away with it.
Certainly ran away with it, and he's running home, and he's running in the home stretch off of turn number 17. The checkered flag waving in the Cape Cod air as Don Laprade wins the Raybestos 120K here at CCIR. Apollo Hyde will get second. Way behind these guys will be Vincenzo Focasato, who will eventually get third as Tyler Stallhood will spin off of turn 17. Will right that Raybestos Camry around 37 machine. Vincenzo Focasato coming around to cap off the podium. A little bit more battles back in here, but other than that, everybody able to get the job done as Don Laprade saying, I'm done with this race, as he is your winner here at Cape Cod. Taking a look at your official results on your screen after the checkered flag. Don Laprade, first win of the season here in the Sportsman Series. 3 different winners in 3 different races. And we have got a dogfight for the championship here going into Las Vegas next week. But Caleb, what a freaking race that we had. Not as chaotic as we thought it could be. Some really good racing, and off the start we thought, okay, this might be a little bit wacky of a race, but some fantastic racing here on the road course of Cape Cod, and Don Laprade dominates here and wins the Raybestos 120K.
Yeah, that was definitely a fantastic race here tonight from Cape Cod. Like you said, we saw a lot of great racing, a lot of action here tonight, and definitely a lot to watch out for, including a great battle that we saw there for the race lead in the early stages between Laprade and Apollo Hyde. Now, like I said, after that final restart, Don Laprade got the race lead, held on to it, and just absolutely never looked back. Pulled away and ran away with it here from Cape Cod. A very dominating performance there out of Laprade. Still definitely got to give credit, though, to Apollo Hyde coming home in second. He still gave a fantastic running here tonight and gave us a great show, battling up there with Don Laprade. And you definitely got to give a call to Vincenzo, too, coming home there with a podium finish in the 37. Great recovery there for him, and a great finishing result there. But just, yeah, what a fun race here from Cape Cod, and Don Laprade, fastest of them all, and he walks away here with the victory.
He certainly does, as Laprade will go into the pit area. I like not to do a burnout here on the front straight away, so we're going to go straight into our post-race coverage here of the Raybestos 120K, but Don Laprade getting the job done. Focasato will take that 37 car back to the garage area, and Laprade getting the job done here once again here at Cape Cod. So he will go to the garage area. We're going to go ahead and get everything set up here for the post-race interviews. So we'll hear from Dunlop Rod, Apollo Hyde, and Vincenzo Focasato here in just a couple of moments. And we are back here for the post-race show after a fantastic race here at the Cape Cod International Raceway. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose bringing you the podium finishers in the Raybestos 120K, starting, of course, with the third-place driver, driving the number 37, Best Water Technologies Pontiac, Mr. Vincenzo Focasato. Vincenzo, you got a copy of us up in the booth?
Loud and clear.
Well, that was certainly an exciting race for the front end of the field, but you spent the majority of this race more towards the tail end, of the midsection of the field. You were battling with those guys for the mid-pack spots. What do you feel like you were lacking a little bit in the car that prevented you from battling up for the lead there in the late stages of that contest?
I wouldn't know how to identify specifics. All I can say is the point of the track, because there was a point in practice where I was right behind Apollo, and once we got to the technical midsection of the course, where there's a bunch of back-to-back slow corners, they absolutely flew off into the sunset. So I guess Sector 2 is where I was losing time, but I wouldn't have known how to get any more than I did. Dunn and Apollo are machines in general, and even more so on road courses, so I didn't expect to have anything for them. But, yeah, I suppose that's exactly where I was short. Don't know what exactly I could have done other than be one or the other of them.
Yeah, and then especially, like, just coming into this weekend in general, through testing and practice and qualifying, this is probably the most technical track that we go to. So what was really your plan of attack coming into this race where you know that, hey, road course racing, not exactly my strongest suit? What were you able to really do to just try to prepare for this race?
I didn't get much preparation. I have done an online race here once before, only once, and it was in open cars, and it was 7 years ago. So didn't really have any meaningful experience to go off of. I didn't take any laps in the stock car until practice opened with 45 minutes to go. So with that in mind, my only goal was to try to stay on the racetrack, stay on the pavement. Don't push the limits because my margin of error is too wide to do that. Just stay with them and see if you can pass by anybody who suffers from attrition. So that was the goal, and I guess I did technically succeed because I did go off course a couple times, but luckily those were both before the final caution, and the last run went cleanly.
It certainly did for you. And Caleb, you got anything for Vincenzo before we'll get out of Dodge?
Not much has already been said, but just a fantastic race from you today. I was talking previously how, at least for me, the strategy going into races like this is usually just to survive, and I think that kind of make you tonight as well. So just a fantastic about you out there tonight, and a great results coming in the third position. So great job, and yeah, great race, man.
Yeah, means a lot. Really appreciate it. It was a great time out there, and yeah, I absolutely looked back. It was Apollo put this on the schedule. Really appreciate them taking our suggestions to come here because it was made for a good time.
It definitely did. And last thing before we'll spring you loose, anybody that you want to thank or shout out here over the NASRN airwaves before we'll let you go?
Sure. As always, Apollo and Tyler for running the show here, giving us a place to race and a place to have fun and enjoy ourselves as we live our dreams on the computer of being race car drivers. And thanks to everyone else in the race who drove me clean and gave me some bananas. Shout out to Emmy. I know that they were having problems with their gearing, so I'm really sorry we couldn't have a more proper battle. They got hurt by mechanical issues. And thank you to the team for bringing us for bringing the show.
Definitely appreciate it. Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the number 37 Best Water Technology Millennium Motorsport Pontiac. Congratulations on a finish here in race number 3.
Thank you both.
User was moved. Out of your channel.
That was Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the number 37 machine. We'll bring it our second place driver into the booth, driving the number 100 machine, Apollo Hyde. You got a copy of us up in the booth?
Yes, I do.
Well, it's certainly a spirited back and forth battle between you and Dunn LaPrade and this race, but coming into this race, probably the most technical track that we go to in this season of Sportsman. What was the mindset for you coming into tonight's race where you knew that this is going to be probably the most arduous track that we go to on the schedule?
I'll tell you, I knew that I had the speed. We had a really fast Pontiac tonight. I mean, this 100 was hooked up, and it was flying around the track, especially in Sector 2. We were faster than everybody in Sector 2 the whole race. So I knew that we definitely had the speed to be able to keep up with Dunn there to try to contend with the win. But once we started getting into that last run, it just didn't look like it was going to pan out. And for whatever reason, I think my car had some sort of electrical issues or something with the throttle or something. I don't know. But the throttle was sticking on me for a lot of the last stint there, and I had to back off my pace to make sure I didn't wreck the car.
You definitely didn't. You were wrecking loose through a couple of those corners, especially going out of that first sector, but that side-by-side battle between you and Dunn was some of the greatest racing that I think we have seen on a road course that Caleb and I have seen here in NR2003. Just what were you able to really do in that moment with Dunn, where you guys were banging fenders there a little bit, just side by side, and just an all-out dogfight? How fun was that for you?
Oh, it was super fun. I just didn't want to wreck him. That's all. I'm side by side. We go side by side into the chicane there on the back half of the track. I was like, oh my God, please do not door the 74 off into the grass. I don't want to pass him that way. Oh, I was just so nervous. I didn't want to wreck him. If I'm gonna pass him, I want to make sure that I pass him right. And yeah, that was really fun. The fact that we were side by side for a half of a lap there, and we were really going back and forth for quite a bit there on the first stint because, like I said, he was beating me in sector 1 because unfortunately I didn't have the confidence under braking in sector 1 that Dunn had. But going into sector 2, I realized that I was beating him in the braking in most of those corners, so it seemed like I had the little bit of extra confidence there. So I knew if I was going to make a run on it had to be in sector 2, and it was more than likely going to be a dive bomb into that 180-degree hairpin there. And that's where I made my move, and I thought I was going to be able to clear him off the corner, but he was just barely still there, and he kept racing me through the rest of the sector. So I was like, all right, well, we're just going to be side by side now. And yeah, that was so much fun. I had a lot of fun with Dunn tonight. And I hope the other road course that we go to later on in the schedule, Old Spice, we have a similar battle because that was too much fun.
Oh, that Old Spice race is probably going to be the most popular race that we're going to see this season. I just ran an offline race there at Old Spice. With 42 Trans Am cars, that is just a hell of a lot of fun, but with a lot of guys, hopefully we get a really good big field for that race because Old Spice is just a hell of a great track there.
So much fun.
But then, of course, looking after these first 3 races, that's when we start looking real seriously at the points. You're 15 points back of Dunlop after tonight's race, but you've still got 9 races to go and a really good race at Las Vegas next week where you guys are about equal on the ovals. Where are you going to be looking for a little bit of advantage over Laprade going into next week's race?
The advantage that I'm hoping to have is that I've kind of had a stranglehold on the flat ovals here at Fuel recently, and I'm just hoping that that's going to continue into Las Vegas. It's a flat, wide, really fast 1.5 mile track, and it's a track that I feel very comfortable with. The only other time that Vegas has been on the Fuel schedule back in GNS in season 2, I ended up winning that race in pretty dominant fashion. So I feel really, really confident. If there's one more race that I can win on the rest of the schedule, I think Vegas is probably the one I have the best chance at.
You definitely do. Caleb, you got anything more?
I guess not much. It's already been said. Just a fantastic performance out of you tonight, as I've kind of been accustomed to seeing from you, especially at these road course tracks. You have always known you as rapid on these racetracks, and tonight was absolutely no different from that. So congratulations, a fantastic run from you here tonight, and honestly, just a great performance, great show there with the battle with Dunlop, and just congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Caleb. It means a lot coming from you, and, it just means a lot. Thank you.
And of course, before we'll spring you out of Dodge here. We'll give you the floor. Anybody that you want to shout out, anybody you want to thank here on the NASRN airwaves?
Yeah, we certainly will. So this weekend, I'm going to be heading out to Brooklyn for a concert called Idol Village, free to attend at Japan Village in Lower Brooklyn. So if you're in the New York City metro area and you're looking for some free to attend entertainment, I suggest swinging by Japan Village.
We'll certainly have to do that. Hey, and Caleb, I know you're all the way over in Harlan, Kentucky, so might be a little bit far for your taste, but hey, I'm in the New Jersey area. I might swing over there. So glad you're able to shout that out. But thank you, Apollo, for taking the time to speak with us here in the booth, and congratulations on another good run here in the Fuel Sportsman Series.
Thank you very much.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Apollo High, driver of the number 100 Kodak Advantix Marvelous Racing Pontiac Grand Prix. And we will bring in our final driver of the evening, driver of the number 74. There we go. Driver of the number 74, Chester's Family Market Chevrolet Monte Carlo, Dunn Laprade, was done with the entirety of this field. And you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth, buddy?
Yep, I sure do.
Well, like we said, you were certainly there and done with the entirety of this field, dominating this race, leading 25 of the 27 laps ran here this afternoon. and you were able to get your first Sportsman win of season number 3. Congratulations. And first and foremost, you had one whale of a battle there with Apollo Hyde right in the mid stages of this race. How fun was it door slamming one of your other really half competitor that's up towards your skill level here in this Fuel Racing Series? How does it feel to just have some really, really good fun racing like that?
That was a nail biter, but it was a blast. You know, when he made the move on the inside, thought I could try to cross him over, that I couldn't be able to get it done until out of turn 2. But even then, we were stuck side by side. We were just battling it out, and you know, I thought that there would be a time or two that we were gonna wreck, but that just shows how much that you can race side by side together, as long as you do respectfully. And I have nothing but absolute respect for Apollo for racing me and everyone else, clean and all that. And I, return the favor as well. So it's always fun to have people that you can go side by side and battle it out, and and knowing that you can trust them.
It certainly is, and of course, coming to a technical track like this, you were the fastest in practice, second fastest in qualifying, and fastest in happy hour, and right at the end of this race, you were putting down fast lap time after fast lap time, and you left Apollo in the dust. What did you really find in that last run after that last caution that allowed you to stretch out to the size lead that you had?
I was babying it on the braking zones a bit too much early on. I felt like that I was right there for sure, but I think that the braking zones was a bit of a sketchy for me, at least to start off, just because of, with it being a technical track and a long straightaways and high speed, kind of a road course in a way at some parts. You really have to be careful with where your braking points are, because as the tires wear out, you have to be very, very conscientious with that. And it was a very hard to try to manage the tires early on, and not. And we had a pretty good. I think I figured it out. Once I figured out my braking zones, I was going in a little bit deeper in some of the heavy braking zones. I was babying it like the first couple of laps in that final stint, just to try to get the feel of it, save my tires. Because I was more so worried about the rears than my front, which then led to me wearing out my front more so than my rears. So I was just babying it, and then once I figured out the braking zones, and then I, about 4 or 5 laps into the run, I think about halfway through that final stint, I think that was when I was able to be a lot more comfortable, that I can, push it a little bit, and then, with the braking zones, and be more confident in that, and be able to drive away, and not have to. I mean, I almost threw it away at one part. I think it was like turn 11 or something like that, where I got in the curb and nearly spun myself out. So I almost threw the race away solely off of that. So I try to be a lot smarter than that. So was able to coast and get the win. Not an easy win by any stretch of the imagination, but it's good to it's pretty good to get a win like this, and yeah.
Certainly is, and like you said, you had to fight for that one. Caleb, you got anything before we'll get underway here?
Nothing much, but fantastic race out of you tonight. You gave us an absolutely spectacular show, especially with that battle there with Apollo High. But after that, you were just absolutely running away there with the race lead, especially after that final restart. So fantastic job out of you tonight. Seen some great performances out of you from the short time that I've been calling online races here, and today was definitely one there for the record book. So great job there out of you tonight. A fantastic drive.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun to be in this league as the usual, and in the race at this track too. It's a very technical track, but a really fun road course. I definitely recommend anyone, that's watching this. I definitely recommend all of y'all to check it out, because it really is a track that is, it is the kind of a track that you would have an absolute blast to race on.
Definitely is, both online and offline. I might have to use this race for the offline Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship later on in 2026. But last thing before we'll spring you loose, Dunn, we'll give you the floor. Anything that you want to say, anybody you want to thank, anybody that you want to shout out over the airwaves before we'll let you go?
Well, first of all, I want to shout out to you guys for broadcasting the race and commentating up there on the booth. Shout out to Apollo for the amazing battle we had, and shout out to everyone on the track for a great race. Shout out to everyone watching at home, and shout out to Team AFR. If you know, you know who I'm talking to, and shout out to everyone for making me a better driver. And shout out to Tyler and Apollo and everybody that's part of the admin group at Fuel for this league. And that's it.
Certainly a lot of people to thank and a lot of people to put together this bad fast number 74 Chester's Family Market Chevrolet. Dunn, congratulations on your first win of Season 3, and we'll see you next week in the Sin City of Las Vegas.
Thank you all. I will be there. See you all, and have a great day.
You as well.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Dunn Laprade, driver of the number 74 Chester's Family Markets Laprade Motorsports Chevrolet, your winner here of the Raybestos 120K. Caleb, we'll close it out here. Final thoughts on what was a fantastic race here at Cape Cod this evening. A little bit longer than we thought. I think the live stream closing in on 90 or 110 minutes here on the live stream, so we'll wrap this up with a bow, nice and orderly. But a really fantastic race here by a lot of veteran guys here in the Fuel Racing League. Thought it was going to be a little bit sketchy early on, but some really great side-by-side racing between Laprade and Apollo High. Just want to get your final thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. That was a very fantastic race here from the Cape Cod International Raceway. Had a lot going on during the race, but still had a lot of fantastic battles that we got to witness. Like I said, with that, especially that battle for the race lead between Dunn Laprade and Apollo Hyde, and just absolutely spectacular racing all around. A lot of stuff to watch out for in this race, and definitely delivered a fantastic result. And in the end, Dunn Laprade with an absolutely spectacular performance, running away there with the win. Just still an incredible race here from Cape Cod, and definitely cannot wait to see how the rest of the season will play out. It's definitely going to be really interesting because, like I said, now we're a couple of races in. The points are really starting to come to fruition. So definitely cannot wait to see how the season will play out. But a great showing here tonight from Cape Cod. That is definitely for certain.
It definitely was. We'll go over the top 5 in points. Unofficial, pending the review. But right now, Dunn Laprade leads the point standings with 259 points. A 12-point lead over Keon Daly. Apollo Hyde 15 back. Vincenzo Focasato 18 back. And those top 4 cars all on top of one another like a blanket for that top spot in the point standings. Ike Durbin rounding out the top 5, 33 points back of Dunn Laprade. We'll go over your official standings for the Raybestos 120K. Dunn Laprade with a 4.761 second lead over Apollo Hyde is your winner. Hyde finishes in second. Vincenzo Focasato rounds out the podium. Nicky Conti and Keon Daly rounded out the top 5. Conti 4th, Keon Daly 5th. Rafaela Sorensen finished in the 6th position. Ike Durbin was 7th. Emmy Schizzato 8th. Lucas Kennedy was 9th. The first car 1 lap down. Kenny Campos rounded out the top 10s. Tyler Stallhood was 11th to round out everybody that was still on the track. Joey Tardamella finished in 12th. Corbin Wentz, the last of all, back in the 13th spot here for the Raybestos 120K. But that's going to do it here from Cape Cod International. Congratulations once again to Dunn Laprade for winning the Raybestos 120K. And tomorrow night, we'll be back on the air for 500 miles of offline racing in Seattle, Washington for the 2025 Mission Barbecue Cup Series regular season finale, airing live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern here on the NASRN. Caleb, good luck in that race tomorrow at Armory Digital. We'll do it all again next Friday night from the Sin City. Round number 4 from Las Vegas airs at 9:50 Eastern and goes green at 10:15 here for the Fuel Sportsman Series, exclusively on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the NASRN. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. From Cape Cod, Massachusetts, on behalf of Caleb Rose and the entirety of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright saying so long. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you tomorrow for the NBCS regular season finale.